Have a nice day. Today is Thursday, 6th of in March 2025. Now starting the newspaper with the world news, including Russian aggression knows no borders, is threat to France. Europe warns Macron amid Ukraine war. Trump grants 1 month exemption to United States automakers from tariffs on cars from the Mexico, Canada. America, the evil mastermind, not so fast. Russians are told. The White House confirms ongoing talks and discussions with the Hamas officials aim at ceasefire uncertainty. Multiple rallies seek restoration of a monarchy in Nepal. Ukrainian law prevents Zelensky Putin peace talks, says Kremlin. Now, starting with the Hindu newspaper, Trump warns Hamas, Gaza, you are dead, and hostages not freed. A military vehicle drives inside the Gaza as seen from the Israeli side at the border between Israel and Gaza on March 5, 2025. Release all of the hostages now, not later, and immediately return all of the dead bodies of the people you murdered. It is over for you, Trump wrote on his Truth Social platform after meeting free the hostages. This is your last warning for the leadership. Now is the time of leave Gaza. While you still have chance, he says to the people of Gaza, a beautiful future awaits, but not if you hold the hostages. If you do, he says. Allah. United States President Donald Trump on Wednesday, March 5, 2025, threatened further destruction of the Gaza if all remaining hostages are not released and issued an ultimatum of the Hamas leaders to flee. Strongly backing Israel as a ceasefire treaters, Mr. Trump said he was sending Israel everything it needs to finish the job as his administration experienced billions of dollars in weapons. Release all the hostages now, not later, and immediately return all the dead bodies of the people you murdered, or it is over for you, he wrote on his Truth Social platform after meeting freed hostages. If Pakistan vacates POK, Kashmir issue will be solved, Jai Shankar. External Affairs Minister Jai Shankar, during an interaction at the Chatham House on March 5, 2025, asked if the Indian government acknowledges some of its shortcomings on human rights in the Jammu and Kashmir. Jai Shankar said the government had, for political reasons, been at the receiving end of campaign around human rights. External Affairs Minister Jai Shankar has said that Pakistan vacating Pakistan-occupied Kashmir would resolve the Kashmir issue in its entirety. The minister was responding to a question from a member of the audience at the Chatham House, the London-based think tank. The question was about whether Prime Minister Narendra Modi could use his relationship with the United States President Donald Trump to solve the Kashmir issue. Removing Article 370 was step number one, Mr. Jaishankar said, referring to the controversial changes in the special status of Jammu and Kashmir made by the government of India on August 2019. Many Trump priorities work for India. Jai Shankar holding elections which were done with a very high turnout was step number three. I think the part we are waiting for is the return of the stolen part of the Kashmir, which is under illegal Pakistani occupation. When that is done, I assure you, Kashmir is solved. He said the discussion hosted Chatham House Chief Executive Warren Van Maddox suggested there were a number of questions on Kashmir as well as human rights. The House of Commons held a debate earlier in the day. Government support for human rights in the Jammu and Kashmir, led by the Labour MP Sarah Smith, asked if the Indian government acknowledges some of its shortcomings on human rights. Mr. Jaishankar said the government had, for political reasons, been at the receiving end of campaigns around human rights. I think from the President Trump perspective, the one big shared enterprise that we have is the quadrilateral security dialogue. Mr. Jaishankar said, referring to the grouping of India, the United States, Australia, and Japan, each Quad member was paying its fair share. It is Mr. Jaishankar said, and so there were no spats about a burden sharing. Financial burden sharing has become a central issue between the United States and several European countries in the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO military alliance. Mr. Trump appears open to connectivity initiatives of a certain collaborative nature. Mr. Jaishankar said, "We have a deep interest in that," he added. The minister was presumably referring to the India-Middle East-Europe corridor (IMEC), which finds mention in the India-United States joint statement that emerged from Prime Minister Narendra Modi's bilateral discussion with Mr. Trump at the White House last month. The statement also refers to the current and future connectivity initiatives, such as the newly announced Indian Ocean strategic venture. Now going towards the Hindustan Times newspaper states that Donald Trump tariffs from the April 2nd, but India works on the separate deal. US President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi during a joint press conference in the East Room of the White House in Washington, D.C. on February 13, 2025. Citing high tariffs from the countries such as Brazil, India, and China, United States President Donald Trump said his plan for reciprocal tariffs will come into effect on April 2nd. But Indian officials held out hope of the resolution, pointing to the trade negotiations currently underway between New Delhi and Washington. Trump's intention to hit a range of trade partners with the reciprocal tariffs unveiled during an address at a joint session of the United States Congress on Tuesday have intensified concerns about trade wars that could hit global economic growth. Trump's remarks came out at a time when Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal in his nearly week-long visit to the United States for the trade negotiations. State-wise common civil codes contradict the idea of the Uniform Civil Code. UCC, some personal laws in India indeed violate the principles of the gender justice and equality. It is an area where the Supreme Court must step in as cases challenging such personal laws are pending before the apex court. Very often violations of fundamental rights are adequately readdressed by education, rather than the legislation. After the Uttarakhand promulgated a uniform civil code, UCC, a few other BJP-ruled states decided to follow suit. Gujarat has set up a committee to draft its code, which held its first sitting on the Tuesday. Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, and Assam have also moved for similar laws. Article 44 of the Constitution, as a directive principles of the state policy, says that there should be an endeavor towards promulgating a UCC for all the citizens throughout the territory of India. Different civil codes in the states are antithetical to the very constitutional idea of the UCC. Instead of unifying the citizens of the country under the umbrella of a common code, state-wise codes do not do the opposite. So, such a scenario can be intrinsically divisive. As a nation with different civil laws in the different states was never intended by the framers of the Constitution. By the framers of the Constitution, which are actually the state-wise UCC are a contradiction in terms. A mandatory UCC for India has always been contested. A concept when K.M. Munshi played it for it in the Constituent Assembly. There was stiff opposition from the Muslim members such as Muhammad Ismail Sahib, Nazruddin Ahmad Mahbub Ali Bahadur, P. Parker, and Hussain Imam. B.R. Ambedkar favored an optional civil code that will enable citizens, if they want to accept a common civil law for the purpose of marriage, inheritance, and other such life events. Now we're going towards the economy of the country from the business point of view. Actively bringing construction suppliers from Taiwan and Dolera seized power ship. Chu said he was confident that the government of India and the government of Gujarat will provide a favorable business environment and investment protection for the Taiwanese businesses interested in investing in India. Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel at the Semiconnect 2025. As the country's race to develop quantum technology, Niti Aayog flags national security risks. Unlike classical computers, which process information in binary zeros and ones, quantum computing uses quantum qubits that can exist in the multiple states at the same time, allowing it to perform certain tasks much faster. Public sector investment in quantum development has increased rapidly with over $40 billion pledged by more than 30 governments. Going to the science and tech, we have an debris from space crashes to Earth, who is responsible in month of July 2023. Officials identified an object found on the beach in Western Australia to be part of the ISRO rocket. In this image, ISRO launched the LED-11 spacecraft on the board of PSLV of C-57 mission from Sriharikota on the month of September 2023. Despite being a critical issue in the space governance, debris lacks a universally accepted legal definition in international treaties. Imagine going about your day when a heavy metal object suddenly crashes in front of your house. You and your neighbors are shocked. You rush out to check what has happened and struggle to make the sense of sight. A mishap, a piece of hot metal blackened by fire and soothed with a cloud of dust swirling around it. This is not a scene from a science film on a sci-fi film. On the December month of 2024, a metal object weighing 500 kg fell in the Makuni country in Kenya. Experts from the Kenya Space Agency characterized it as a separation ring from a space worked a rocket, while Jonathan McDonald, an astronomer known for the cataloging space launch and objects in orbits, and some other have expressed skepticism that an object was a part of the rocket. Similar incidents in the United States and Australia before have served as repeated reminders of the urgent problem of space debris. New version of the Merck's cancer drug faces possible patient battle. Boots cancer medicine with the pills, third and Halozyme Therapeutics claims Merck's new Keytruda version infringes on patients, requiring a licensing agreement, reports WSG. Biotech Halozyme Therapeutics believes the new version of the Merck's blockbuster cancer drug Keytruda infringes on its patents. The Wall Street Journal reported on Wednesday, March 5, 2025, citing people familiar with the matter. According to the Holozyme, Merck must sign a licensing agreement in order to sell its new version, the report said. Merck is developing an injectable version of the Keytruda, which could protect it from the competition when the intravenous version loses exclusivity later in the decade. All you need to know about endometriosis and the woman with endometriosis tissue that is similar to the endometrium grows on or around the organs, commonly reproductive organs in the pelvis of abdomen. Endometriosis is a condition in which the tissue that is similar to the lining of your uterus grows outside your uterus. If it affects roughly 10% of reproductive age women and girls globally. Not many people talk about menstruation. Even fewer people talk about the pain associated with it. Though almost every young girl and a woman has experienced some form of menstrual cramps. It is no wonder that endometriosis, a condition that can cause extremely pain, menstrual cramps, continues to be talked about only minimally and diagnosed late. Despite affecting roughly 10% of the reproductive age women and girls globally, March being endometriosis awareness month. Here is what you need to know about this condition. Sometimes anymore. Now let us have a brief personality at last. Was actually the Prophet from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Prophet Salih alayhi salatu wasalam was the son of Sam, Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam, and the Prophet of the people Thamud. The Quran mentioned him after the Prophet Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam and Hud. Salih alayhi salatu wasalam was the third Arab prophet whose name is mentioned in different status of the Quran, while there is no mention of him in the Torah. Salih lived to 80 years and his grave is in the Wadi al-Salam cemetery in Najaf, Iraq. Based on the report, historical sources, Salih was chosen as a prophet at the age of 16 and invited his people to the monotheism until the age of 120. But they did not care about his invitation and killed his camel he had drawn out from inside the mountain. Salih alayhi salatu wassalam and his people Thamud. So let's have a look. Prophet Salih alayhi salatu wasalam was from the later generation of the Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam, son of Sam. He was the son of Sam, and the grandfather was his. Salih alayhi salatu wasalam and his people lived in an area known as Al Hajr, which was located along the trade route of the from southern Arabia to Syria. Salih alayhi salatu wasalam was sent to his people as a prophet when he was 16. He remained among them until he was 120 years old. They had 70 idols whom they used to worship. Thamud was a blessed nation concerning their fertile land, financial abundance, and prosperity. Prophet Salih والسلام, had given people the invitation of truth and declared Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's oneness with superiority. One day Salih والسلام, said, "People, you have seen that I called each of your gods, but not even one of them responded. As you are unable to achieve any benefit from your gods, I shall pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He subhanahu wa ta'ala will surely grant what you will ask." The people selected 70 senior leaders. They told Salih والسلام, that they were ready to present their demand. People of Thamud said, "If this group accepts your word, we too shall follow it." The group of 70 persons said, "O Salih والسلام, we present a request to you. If your Lord accepts," and they asked for pregnant she-camel, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed them exactly with their demanded sign and also at the same time. Salih Thamud to take care of the she-camel. One day was allotted for the she-camel to drink water, and the other for the nation. The she-camel was living miracle. This setup was gradually getting heavier for them. They were having problems with the drinking the water of the camel, and look at the blessing of huge amount of milk she used to give to the nation. Despite this huge sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, still they did not fulfill the promise of repenting and returning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rather, they became harsher to Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, that is Salih alayhi salatu wasalam. The most tyrant ones of the nation plotted and killed the she-camel without paying any attention to Prophet Salih alayhi salatu wasalam's warning. The nation favored them and did not stop. After killing the camel, they mocked Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam that he may bring the punishment which he talks about only if he is a real messenger. The nation of the Tam met a painful end, which is a lesson for everyone who wants to understand their thankless ego, not realizing the truth, and bad behavior towards their Prophet ﷺ led them to the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save all of us from the slightest of his anger. Ameen. Imagine the sorrow and sadness of the Prophet ﷺ, who worked hard for them, who preached to them lifelong for so many years. Still, the nation did not respect him, and neither did the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We had to learn our lessons from this story, and all of us have to think again about our behaviors towards our advisors on all levels. Without judging them, we may try always to respect them and regard their efforts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us protect them from all acts other than pleasing Him. Ameen Ya Rabbal Alameen.